Hello, welcome to Professor SNAB, where we make A-level biology as simple as a cell. So today we're understanding how individuals may develop immunity, and this includes natural, artificial, active, and passive. So natural immunity. This develops after infection as a result of the body's response to an antigen. So memory cells are developed in the primary infection. Hence, in case of a secondary infection taking place, the memory B cells and antibodies can immediately carry out the immune response. So this type of immunity can be passed on to from the mother to the infant through breast milk. So artificial immunity. So this is gained through vaccines. So vaccines contain dead or weakened versions of the virus. And this simulates the immune system to develop the immune response to fight the pathogen. Hence, the individual does not come in contact with the real pathogen as the body is already prepared to carry out the necessary response to rapidly detect and destroy the pathogen. So this is developed when the body makes its own antibodies so we're talking about active immunity. So this is developed when the body makes its own antibodies in response to pathogen exposure. So vaccinations provide active immunity as the weakened versions of the virus activates the immune response to develop antibodies to fight the pathogen. So, however, it is important to note that booster vaccinations are sometimes required to revitalize the immunity against the pathogen. So this is to ensure this is supposed to act as a protection to prevent the immunological memory from fading. So now we're looking at passive immunity. So passive immunity involves antibodies, but these antibodies are from another animal. This is often the choice of treatment for patients that require immediate treatment, and the infected individual is injected with antibodies produced from another animal or antibodies from an immune person. So, a lot of you are very likely to be familiar with COVID-19, and you might have seen a lot of articles on the BBC or just news reports and studies just in general where they ask volunteers who've already been affected by COVID. So the idea behind that is this whole idea of passive immunity. So obviously it is for further research in some cases, and sometimes it is a possible way to implement passive immunity for patients who might need that immediate care. So that's like one recent example I can think of. And yeah, so the antibodies immediately identify the pathogen and then they fight off the infection. So again, it's just another way to prepare the body for the actual virus. Slide to highlight the importance of vaccination. So basically the whole point of vaccination is that it speeds up the process of developing immunity and it protects the individual from being affected by the pathogen. And this is really important for viruses that are deadly and can kill within days. And a really recent or familiar example would be the Ebola virus, which a lot of you might remember back from 2014. And vaccinations are extremely beneficial against such life-threatening viruses because the body is prepared to fight these pathogens. The process of having a successful primary immune response and gaining immunological memory takes 2 weeks. And this is too slow for viruses such as Ebola. And that is why the need for vaccinations is really important. Mass vaccination basically leads to herd immunity, and mass vaccination is basically when a large population of a geographical area is vaccinated against a certain pathogen. So this protects vulnerable members of society, such as babies and senior citizens, or just individuals with a weakened immune system and are not in a position to be able to take vaccinations. So by ensuring herd immunity, what happens is you can eventually lead to the complete eradication of pathogens. And one such example where we successfully eradicated a virus is the smallpox. And another one which we are very close to a complete eradication is polio. We're not yet there yet, but we are working towards it. Slide on antigenic variability, and it's not explicitly mentioned in your textbooks, but I do think it is something you can use in your analysis question on vaccinations, antibodies, and antigens. And I also think it's just an interesting way to kind of a different way to think about vaccines. So vaccinations are ineffective if antigens change, and it is very possible for antigens to change. And in this case, in case of a secondary infection, the existing memory cells are ineffective. So that is why, so as a result, a new primary immune response is needed. So that is why you will need booster vaccines. And examples of viruses you might be familiar with this idea of booster vaccines would be the flu vaccine that you get every year. Um, or another one is the COVID vaccines. You know, a lot of us had to get 2 or 3 booster vaccines to keep ourselves safe. So that's another example. And that is to ensure that the body is prepared in case the antigens that you're exposed to do change. From Professor Snap today. I hope you found this video useful. If you have any questions or if you need any clarification, do let me know in the comments and I'll get back to them as soon as possible. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.